Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial I want to show you how you can create this in-car camera here and a steering wheel. So let's go. First of all, we will be using a custom car for this tutorial. If you want to know how to create one, of course, link is in the description. So in our case we have this Firebird here as a custom car, and since this is a child class of our advanced vehicle pawn, we will go into the parent class here where we have all the functions that came with the vehicle template. So the steering, the throttle control, the braking, the camera control. So let's start up with the first person camera. By default we have the back camera and the front camera. All I changed is I deleted the spring arm of the front camera because we don't need it. And now let's open up the details of the front camera and we need to activate the use pawn control rotation. Then let's go back to the event graph here. I would recommend to deactivate this function here because it automatically rotates the camera. So let's take a look on the look around function. First of all, we need a variable called main camera, just a boolean, and we'll compile it. We can set the default value to true. Then we have the toggle camera function here. At the end, we want to set the main camera boolean up here, of course, to false, and down here to true. Then, for the look around, we need a branch to ask if we use the main camera or not. If yes, we just go forward to the add location rotation here, and down here we want to say add controller jaw input and just connect the action value and the false. When we now compile and save this and hit play, we can switch to the front camera and we can already look around. So there are two ways to solve this. In this way you can see we can just look around from left to right, but we can't look up and down. If you want to add this as well, we need to go to the vehicle template folder, to input, then we have the actions, and we have the look around action here. Currently we have the axis 1D. If we want to look as well up and down, we need 2D. So let's change it like this one. Then we go back to the folder where we have the IMC default. Let's open this up as well. Open up the mappings, open up the look around, and here you can see we have currently the mouse X. We need to change this to mouse X epsilon to the axis. And for the gamepad as well, the gamepad right to the axis. Save this as well and go back to our parent class. So now we can unplug this one. We go right click on the action mapping, split structure pin, and we connect the X to the jaw as well down here. And back here we need the add controller pitch input. And then we connect the epsilon right here. And we now compile and save this and hit play. We can normally look around, and when we switch to the first person, we can look around as well. Great. Next, we want to animate the steering wheel here. Like I showed in my custom car tutorial, it's very important to have all the car parts as static meshes. So when we take a look, we have the steering wheel, the doors, the wheels, and the body itself as a static mesh. I would not recommend to do this as a bone because it's much more complicated to animate them and you can't customize them later. So as a static mesh, you can always customize everything. Like I said, we have the steering wheel here as a static mesh. Be sure that you have the position like this one. So it's a 90-degree angle here and it's facing the front of the car, which means when we go here to the car, you can see it fits perfectly, but we have to fix the angle. I know in my case it's -25, so it looks better here, as you can see. But all you have to do is be sure when you rotate the X value that it's rotating perfectly with the car. Very important for later. Now let's open up the advanced vehicle pawn again. and we need to separate a function here. So let's take the steering and throttle control, just cut it out and bring it to the custom core in the event graph here. So we can keep, of course, the throttle input, but we need to change a few things for the steering. We take out the static mesh for the steering wheel. Then we want to unplug this one here. We go from the steering wheel and say set relative rotation. Right click, split structure pin. Then we want to go from the trigger here and connect it. The axis value will be multiplied by, of course, 90 degree. And we will connect it to the X here. And like I said, in my case, it's the rotation of the pitch of -25. So it looks better later of the steering wheel. And that's basically it. I would recommend to connect the complete as well. Then we say compile and save this. And we now hit play and switch to the front camera here. We can rotate with the steering wheel. Of course, when you're using a keyboard, it looks very hard because you don't have the smoothness of a steering. But if you're using a controller, which you can use directly, as you can see, you can rotate much smoother, as you can see, like that. And then you can drive around. And now we have the steering wheel, we have the indoor camera. Great. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know. And yeah, goodbye.